I just started studying. It was just, it was the time of the first personal computer. So I really saw the development from the very beginning. Especially at the beginning of the career, I think it's easier to change between industries.
You're a founder of two startups. How did your experience founding, these two startups align with your passion for what you're doing today, like, digital transformation as well as risk management? Hello, you're watching CIO News. I am Simran Shivalkar, a journalist at CIO News and your host for today. This session is being recorded and it will be available on our website cionews.co.in, on our YouTube channel and our LinkedIn handle as well. In today's episode of Wonder Women in Tech, we have Ms. Janine Ameri Warner. She's a dynamic force at the nexus of business and technology. With a career spanning across analytics, risk management, and regulatory change across diverse sectors, Janine has spearheaded the establishment of critical risk functions for international asset managers. Janine also has a passion for she also has a passion for technological advancements from personal computers to blockchain that fuels her entrepreneurial ventures. As a founder of a retail business and a consultancy focused on risk management and digital transformation, Janine is definitely shaping the future of tech enabled business strategies. It gives me immense pride and pleasure to invite her in today's session. Janine, thank you once again for agreeing to do this with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It is very much an honor from my side to be able to participate in this interview.
Fantastic. And like I said, with a remarkable experience across various sectors, my first question to you, Janine, would be, as someone who's deeply engaged in both business and technology, what initially sparked your interest in this intersection? If you could just walk us through your journey.
Okay, sure, with pleasure. So in the beginning, my journey started more on the IT side. As I just started studying, it was just, it was the time of the first personal computer. So I really saw the development from the very beginning. And then later I changed to business, and the same with my work. I started my career in IT, then changed more to business, and most of the time though at the intersection of the two. And what I really like is the always very fast change. It's not any day like the other. Everything is always new and changing, and there is always so many opportunities. So these are really the things that I enjoy, and it never gets boring.
Great. And along the same lines, you have an experience that spans across different industries, from finance and food to manufacturing. How do you adapt your skills and knowledge, that suits the challenges and the requirements of each industry?
Especially at the beginning of the career, I think it's easier to change between industries. Later, it can be more difficult. But I think if you want to change, what is important is you really have a good skill set in what you offer. In this case, for example, technical skills, whether that be software engineering or data analytics, and then make sure these skills are transferable. What I find, especially as you progress in your career, it gets a bit more difficult because many times also the networking, even conferences, is very sector specific. One place I find that is more across sectors is in the educational sector. So they really use the advantage to also hear from other sectors. But then in the end, it's also finding, the passion may be in like your specific technical skill and how you apply that. But of course it helps when you find also an industry that you have passion for and then focus more on that you want to stay in long term.
Rightly said, and thank you once again for answering that. With a strong entrepreneurial spirit, you're a founder of two startups. How did your experience founding, these two startups align with your passion for what you're doing today, like, digital transformation as well as risk management?
Mm-hmm. The first startup was actually definitely not in risk management, a bit in digital transformation. It was really a brick and mortar shop for tea, so very out of everything else I have been doing. But it really helped me with a lot of transferable skills, like how do you set up a company, and then of course the networking with other startup founders, which is something that is also very important, which it doesn't matter which area you want to have your own business. So from this perspective, it was very good. And of course, then with the whole digitalization of everything, it was a very great learning experience as well. Then the second startup there, really the focus was on risk management as well as digital transformation, which is really a great experience when you do it like this, because you get to meet so many people, you get to meet so many industries. Maybe what I can share a little is really try, first to set your focus and stick with it. What happened to me a little, I started it, I wanted to be at that intersection, but then by coincidence, the first few years I was really more just in risk management and compliance. I guess because that's where more orders came in, and I'm switching again to really being at that intersection. I don't know how much is the drive of my own, or also at the moment, with the coming up of Gen AI and blockchain, there is again more need in that direction. But in this, my advice would be really stick to what you want to do and what you're passionate about, and shift to where it goes. I'm really happy right now that I managed to shift back into the direction where I wanted to be.
Thank you once again for taking us through your journey, right from your startups, giving a comprehensive view about both these startups, and being a woman in this domain for so long at a leadership position, and now an entrepreneur, of course. I'm sure your journey has not been, a cakewalk. There have been challenges. It's been demanding. Has there been a time where problems, or where you face challenges related to gender dynamics? Has it ever impacted your journey?
With this, I have to say I was very lucky. I have not felt a lot of resistance because of gender. I think especially in the very beginning, many years ago, it was because there were so few women, and still networking is an important part. From that perspective, it made it a little more difficult. So there were never any difficulties, with from 8 to 5 doing the work. There were never any conflicts there, But with the rest, like with making a career, then it was much more difficult because there were not that many networking opportunities. So there, I'm really glad that has changed a lot in recent years. There are a lot of even like women in blockchain or women in tech, that a lot of these networking opportunities specifically for women, that is very helpful. With this, I think it's important for all the women who are already more experienced, to always have a special lookout for the younger women or maybe older women who are recently transferred into more the tech area, to be supportive, to be helpful, to show them what is important to learn within companies, to be mentoring and not just focus on the technical skills, but every company has its own political struggles and queries, to support in that, to ensure that they have the visibility. These things I think are very important, and it's also a lot of fun. I mean, with this you also learn a lot always on your own, so it's not just giving, it's always you get a lot, by also supporting others.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important.
Very rightly said. And thank you so much for, putting it across in a way, being candid about this. At the same time, I'm sure now that you've come so far, I would also like to hear it from you. How do you prioritize self-care and maintain a healthy work-life balance amidst your busy schedule?
Mm-hmm. I think it's very important to put a clear focus, in the morning, maybe take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and, go through your day mentally, so you don't get distracted here and there, because then in the end you couldn't accomplish your work. Then at night you don't have time for your family. So this little, just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, put a focus on what you want to do for the day. And then of course mid and long term, set your goals. And then with each activity you can think, is this beneficial for me to reach my goals? Is it beneficial to me to spend time with my family in this way? And And that way you can set priorities. You know, you have to also sometimes calm down, and then maybe you want to watch TV, but you realize, you know, you whether relax in the end or did you spend time with your family, so maybe reprioritize there. I think, yeah, it is hard to find a balance, but I think one way it helps if you have also something that your work that you're passionate about, you know, then it also doesn't stress you out that much, you know. In the end, you don't come home very tired, and you know, you still have energy for all the other activities, be it family, be it sport.
Very well, like you put it across, you know, once you know what you're passionate about, I think things just fall in place. You do not have to, you know, run across juggling here and there. So thank you once again for sharing your insights on that. Lastly, I would like to hear it from you. Any key practices or any final words of advice that you would like to give out to fellow women leaders or aspiring women who want to, you know, make their mark in this domain?
So one thing I mentioned already was the networking and the mentoring. And then I think it is important, like you had said before, to find your passion. And I think it is very helpful if someone is just starting out, especially maybe even during university, if she already maybe does some internships here and there, to find out a bit more what really is the passion, both from a work as well as from maybe the team dynamics or the industry. That is definitely very helpful. And then, yeah, I have to say again, network as much as you can, get to know people, and then also try to find the passion, really try to specialize in something. You know, it can be, I don't know, a specific technical skill that you can specialize in. It could also be maybe something generalistic, that you know how to apply a technology to different industry. It doesn't matter what, but something try to find, and then make yourself visible on that. You know, I don't know, publish on social media, go to conferences within your company, maybe try to be entrepreneurial and bring that up, maybe bringing a new technology to the company, maybe it's changing the way processes are done. But through being very knowledgeable about something small, you can really make yourself visible, and then later grow from there into all different kind of areas. I think that the visibility is very important in the beginning.
Absolutely. And like you said, because it's a digital age, it's a do-it-yourself era, you have to put yourself out there, you know, when you start slow, and eventually, you know, that is how you will be noticed and you'll be heard. Janine, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been both inspirational and insightful, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners have a lot to take away from this session. Thank you once again for doing this with us.
Thank you so much for having me again.